Hare Krishna. Today I'm going to be speaking from the first verse of the Govinda Damodar Stotra. Bilawangal Thakur very beautifully says, Agre Kuruna Mata Pandavanam Dushashanena Tavasakesha Krishna Tadakrosha Ananyanata Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. In this verse, Krishna is explaining a very powerful and a very instructive story. Bilamangal Thakur, he is bringing the story of Draupadi's Vastraharan here. He says, Agre Kurunam Ata Pandavanam. In the assembly of the Kurus and the Pandavas, Dushashanenartha Vastrakesha. So, Dushashan, he was pulling the sari, the robes of Draupadi. At that point in time, Draupadi is very, very helpless. Krishna Tadakrosha Ananya Natha. She realizes that there is nobody else that can help her. And then she chants the holy names, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. So, in the beginning, when Dushashan was pulling her and getting her into the assembly, Draupadi started approaching all the elders in the assembly. She started going to Bhishma, asking him, what is going on? Why are you not protecting me? Bhishma put his head down. She went to Dronacharya, the guru. She asked him questions. Dronacharya also didn't say anything. She went to Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhan, and she asked him. He is a king sitting there. And Dhritarashtra also couldn't say anything. She went to Kripacharya. She went to so many of these personalities, one after another. And then finally, she came to the Pandavas, her husbands. They were all already slaves of Duryodhan. But still they are her husbands. So she went and asked them, what are you doing? And then she realized that even her husbands are not helping her. And then she realized, I have to help myself. And Draupadi held her sari with her hand. Dushashan had the strength of 10,000 elephants. And in spite of having the strength of 10,000 elephants, and obviously now he was pulling the sari of Draupadi, what can Draupadi do? Her strength is very limited. She is a woman and she is not a trained warrior. She is a very simple lady and she doesn't have the strength to match 10,000 elephant strength. And Dushashan was pulling her sari and he was pulling her hair. And it was a very traumatic experience for Draupadi. And after holding on to that sari for a long period of time, she realized that there is no way I can hold on for longer. And she realized that I have to take shelter of someone who can help. This verse over here, Krishna Tadakroshan Ananya Natha, is a very instructive and a very powerful part of this verse. The word Ananya Natha means having some other shelter. We all have so many things we take shelter of. Some people take shelter of money, thinking that money can solve all their problems and money can help them deal with any calamity in life. Some people take shelter of relatives, family, and friends, thinking that my family, my friends, my relatives will surely help me during my time of crisis. And then some people take shelter of doctors during the time of crisis. There are so many doctors who try to help us, especially if you have some really complicated issues. Doctors put their heart in trying to help us. And then there are some people who take shelter of so many other aspects, like say, for example, a house, thinking that if I have a house, I will feel so much shelter, my own house. The interesting thing is that all these are temporary shelters. They are all called as Ananya Natha. They are all, so many types of Nathas, so many types of shelters that are available to us. But the fact is that during our most difficult times, we are alone. There is nobody who can help us. Even if your friends and family love you so much, but when you are in pain, only you have to go through that pain. Your money can actually get you to the hospital, can actually get you a good treatment, but it can never relieve you of your pain. It can never actually give you shelter that you're looking for. The heart does not need just a treatment. The heart needs affection and love. The heart needs shelter. All the bank balances, the houses that we live in, they can probably give us some feeling of being sheltered, but they actually do not give us real shelter. And therefore, Draupadi realized, forget the whole world. I myself cannot help myself. Nowadays, there's this whole concept of self love, that you please take care of yourself. Yes, that's true to a great extent. But the fact is that even we are incapable of taking care of ourselves, because even we have limitations. How much can we do for ourselves? How much can we love ourselves? And that's the point where Draupadi was. She realized no one can help me, including myself. She was holding on to that sari with full strength. But in spite of holding on to that sari with full strength, Dushashan's strength was much, much more powerful. The strength of the forces that we are against, the strength of material energy, the strength of the difficulties and tribulations that we all go through is always going to be much bigger than your own strength. That is a time that we have to come to the same conclusion that Draupadi came to. She realized, I must take shelter of Krishna. So she held on to her sari with one hand, and one hand she raised up in the air, taking shelter of Krishna, calling out to Krishna helplessly. And then, in spite of that, nothing happened. Krishna didn't come. No help came. So she was really confused. What am I going to do? One hand I'm holding onto the sari and one hand I'm holding up. Maybe I should raise both my hands and take shelter of Krishna completely. But at the same time, she didn't want to leave her sari. So she held her sari in her mouth, tightly biting with her lips. And then she held both her hands up and started intensely shouting out to Krishna for help. And at that point, how much can a set of teeth hold on to a sari, isn't it? In front of 10,000 elephant strength. And then finally she realized, I'm a fool. I have been thinking that I can do something to protect myself. I'm taking shelter of Krishna with both my hands, but with my teeth I'm holding on. So which means somewhere I'm not completely dependent on Krishna. I am not understood. Krishna tadakroshad ananyanata. Krishna is my only shelter. There is no other shelter. I don't want any other shelter. I don't want any other person whom I can depend on and I can take shelter of. The only person who can truly give me shelter is Krishna. And when Draupadi came to that conclusion, she opened her mouth. The sari went off from her mouth. With both her hands, with full intensity, she shouted out the name of Krishna. Tears were rolling down her eyes, intensely chanting the names of Krishna. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. And that time something amazing happened. In Dwarka, Krishna was very far away. He was engaged in a battle. And in the middle of a battle, Krishna suddenly heard the loud calling of Draupadi in helplessness. Krishna obviously turned on his chariot and he was riding full speed to reach Draupadi. And he realized his chariot is too slow. He called Garuda, the Garuda Airlines, and he thought Garuda will be much faster than this chariot. And he was moving at the speed of lightning on the back of Garuda. And he realized Garuda also is too slow. And then he started traveling at the speed of the mind. And when Krishna was traveling at the speed of the mind, he said, even this is too slow. And then Krishna rode on the fastest means to reach his devotee. You know what are the fastest means to reach his devotee? Krishna realized the fastest mode of transport is the tears of Draupadi. The tears that are falling down on Draupadi's eyes in helplessness, completely taking shelter of Krishna. Krishna traveled with those tears. And then he reached over there in the form of a sari and became an endless sari that Dushashan could not remove. Krishna is looking for the fastest means to reach us. but he waits till we completely take shelter of him. And finally, when we completely take shelter of him, and those tears come out from our eyes, and we realize that there is actually no other shelter, that's when you will experience Krishna. Tears don't come out easily from our eyes. But when they do come out, not out of fear, not out of anxiety, not out of frustration, not out of sadness, not out of sorrow, but out of intensely taking shelter of Krishna. Those tears are very unique type of tears. And those tears are the only means, the fastest means of Krishna reaching out to us. The day we chant the holy names of Krishna and we actually feel like crying, actually tears come out from our eyes, that's the day we should know that we have taken complete shelter of Krishna. Otherwise, there are so many nathas that we are all dependent on, and tears won't come out from our eyes. The day we realize, we come to this very powerful realization that there is no other natha, there is no other shelter for me in this material world except Krishna. Krishna tada kroshad ananya natha. And in that mood, we chant Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. That's when you will experience Krishna in completeness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.